Okay, for those of you that were here last week and watch my hand come into view like I'm the hand of fate in the end of Cabin in the Woods. Sorry about that, I just couldn't get it quick enough. I'm obviously at Disney and or Universal right now, so that's why we're shooting these videos now, and it is actually Black Friday. I'll throw that out there.
And speaking of where you are,
It's December 13th if you're watching this video, so we're going to start with something that does make sense to where I am right now.
I finally, after all this time, watched Escape from Tomorrow.
I've been trying to get you to watch this movie for it seems like months.
Basically this movie had a notorious reputation when it went to Sundance because news broke that it was basically shot on cell phones, on site, with nobody's permission.
That is correct.
Have they even said anything about it?
We're trying to push it under the rug, basically.
And I don't know if you've seen it or not, but the poster for this movie...
I love the poster for the movie.
It's a yellow background, and it says bad things happen everywhere. And it's in the Disney font.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Mickey's gloved hand with bloodstains on it, rising up.
So many potentials of lawsuits in this movie.
And the opening credits are done in the Disney font too.
Yep.
It doesn't. There's no real clear thing this movie is about when you tell people. I just gotta kind of, you know something bad is happening because the opening credits happen and then we're seeing a first-person point of view from a roller coaster, and someone loses their head.
Yep.
When it goes too low or something.
That's why they call them head choppers, folks.
So,
it's Big Thunder
then the
Mountain.
movie starts, and it's this family. It's this perverted dad. It's his boring wife. They have a daughter and they have a son. And they're apparently at Disney World in the movie. But apparently they shot them at both places.
Yeah, this movie starts out at the Contemporary, actually. I know the balcony very well. And they bounce back and forth so much between Disney World and Disneyland. It is, if you're a Disney fan like I am, this movie is excruciating to watch.
Maybe it's intentionally Maybe it's intentionally that way to be disorienting.
Potentially.
I don't know. That'd be giving this movie too much credit. Well, here's the thing. So this family, they're going around, and there are these two girls that the dad keeps seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's horny, I guess, intends on following them around wherever they go.
Including dragging his son, who wants to ride Buzz Lightyear away just so he can get around her.
Every 5 minutes, the kid mentions that he wants to go on Buzz Lightyear. So much so that the dad finally snaps and says, "If I hear Buzz Lightyear all the time." And as the day progresses and he keeps following these girls around, things start to get weird.
Extremely weird.
Everybody appears to be sick or getting sick. There's a lot of puking.
Sorry about that. I told you, though.
And it basically ends up as ambitious propaganda about corporate America's hold on people or something like that.
Everyone's got cat flu.
Basically, yeah. And yeah. I will give this movie a lot of points where I could see, like, there are clearly creative forces behind the making of this movie.
Ballsy.
People that really wanted to do something original. Well, I won't say original. When you think about what I'm assuming their bludgeoning message was, but I suppose the means of doing it is interesting, and the way they were able to do this Lynch, Cronenberg, Gilliam kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Gilliam.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end. And, you know, it's got kind of like the same black and white style as Eraserhead. I'm sure it was an influence.
I'm positive it was.
I was bored a lot because I mean I know it's one of those you're kind of building the tension things,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I didn't really. I don't know. Well, there's this. I'm going to assume that. I mean, I don't want to. I'm trying not to say too much. That's my problem. But this movie goes in a direction that lost me, and I know. I'm assuming it's. Everybody wants to make that message about how people are. I'm trying to figure out what the word is I'm looking for. Basically hypnotized by big corporations.
They're blinded by their real intentions.
Something like that.
We'll go with that.
I haven't heard anything about the actual makers of it. Did they like? Is this like what they were going for basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So. I think that's like the same people going after Saving Mr. Banks that are talking about how the movie's just going to glorify Disney and apparently has a lot of deep dark secrets and all that. But
this is true, but this is not the story you're trying to tell.
I mean, it's just. I mean, no, it's not just Disney, but I mean, just this message in general is overdone, and I didn't really see much of a point to this movie at all. I mean, it did have moments of effectiveness that were kind of, disturbing.
Yeah.
But what was the point?
I enjoyed playing Spot the Location. It's like, we're going to go to Tomorrowland, to Disneyland, when we are halfway across the country. Yeah.
I mean, there are some good scenes, like the when shit starts to go down while the fireworks are going off.
That was awesome.
There's this obese guy in one of those
ECVs.
and he keeps running into.
And those things are everywhere in the parks. I'm sure I've been ran into at least one this week already.
I don't know what direction that was going, but it didn't go anywhere.
He was a decoy, maybe, by the corporation?
I don't know.
If you want to go in that direction?
I don't know what this was, but I just... Like I said, the only thing I can compliment is how ambitious it is. Because I'm sure it had plenty of ideas. And like I said, even if it was, the way they made it is a very interesting thing to do.
Yeah, there's scripts on cell phones too.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about this. I haven't really actually said anything since this review started. I don't know. I don't buy it.
It's very interesting.
I don't know. It's mostly just... Maybe they're also going with something about the redundancy of it, where a lot of the movie is just them going from ride to ride. And there's just kind of this... I mean, I know he's following the girls and everything, but there's just this redundancy to everything. Once again, I'm sure that was part of it. The whole people doing what merchandise and commercials tell them to do.
To be honest, and I know I probably already have this week too, in the past I have seen families that have went through the park, like going through the motions like that. And I've seen the breakdowns. I've watched several of them. And it's kind of like you don't want to look away. It's so crazy.
Like when the mom hits the girl.
Yeah. I've seen this stuff happen before, so I know this stuff does happen.
I don't know, and this main character is so fucking weird. I don't know what happened to this child of Bob Odenkirk and Rob Huebel, but he's a...
Yeah, I got that vibe too.
I just don't. I didn't take to this movie.
I guess if you're a Disney fan, it's basically Spot the Location.
I'm not saying it's bad.
No.
I just really have nothing to say about it.
You know, it's funny because the general consensus is there isn't really anything to say about it.
But like I said, it takes this direction towards the end that bludgeons you with the message they want to say and
Yep.
does all the obvious things. What? I don't know. This is one of those reviews where I just have nothing to say. Thank you for your time. Bye. I got nothing.
All right. Interesting.
Are we going on?
Sure.
Alright. Our next one is something I have a little more to say about. It is a critically acclaimed contender for the Oscar for it's on, I wouldn't say a contender, but it's on the submission list. I can't remember where it came from or which country submitted it. I'll think of it later once the camera's off. I'm talking about the Broken Circle Breakdown, which you've probably heard a lot of things about if you're looking into this. I've got news for you. I hate to be this guy.
You've been this guy a lot this week.
No. I start off with a review where I don't know what to say. In my second review, I'm turning into that guy. This is going to be one of the worst review videos we've ever done. And here's what I'm talking about. It depends on who's watching this video, I guess, how they'll react to this criticism.
Okay.
Because you have opposite reactions. You have opposite sides of the spectrum when it comes to this kind of criticism, I guess. Okay. Like I said, I'm sure I'll come off ignorant to some people, and I'll be preaching to the choir for other people. It just depends on who comes across this video. I don't have anything against foreign movies. Like, I don't... Like, when people get on people's cases about not liking foreign movies, usually the first thing they jump to is, oh, Americans don't want to read subtitles. I don't think that's it. It's because foreign movies are done so much differently than American movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just have a whole different style to them because they come from a totally different place. So I think people are too much on a bandwagon high horse when they say stuff like that. I think it's believable for people to just not like foreign movies because they're done in a totally... Most of them are done in a totally different way, and they can be interpreted otherwise.
Okay.
But then there's people that watch them all the time and it's seamless to people. Like you see top 10 lists and like half of them are foreign, half of them are American and stuff like that. We're talking strictly about American people, obviously, not just not the people in the other countries. This is the American reaction to foreign movies. I don't care. There's foreign movies that I love. There's foreign movies that I think are pieces of shit. It just depends on the movie. I don't care if it's foreign. So it's not often that I say something like what I'm about to say. If the Broken Circle Breakdown were the exact same movie in English, it would end up on the Hallmark Channel or Lifetime. But for some reason, people think this thing it's getting nothing but tremendous reviews and reactions. But here's what the Broken Circle Breakdown is. You take a blender, you take My Sister's Keeper, the Cameron Diaz movie about cancer, you take Reservation Road, the dead kid parents react movie starring Joaquin Phoenix and Mark Ruffalo, you put that in there, and you take Country Strong and you put it in there. The Broken Circle Breakdown is what comes out, just in a different language.
Wow.
That's really what this is. It's really, really melodramatic. And it's goes through the motions. They try to give it some significance by giving it a fractured timeline. A fractured timeline can, add something to movies, like if you're trying to put pieces together, but it doesn't. There's no point for it here. The plot is she is this tattoo artist that's covered herself in tattoos, and I don't know how this works. She's called a religious realist. That kind of sounds more like agnostic to me, but that's what she's called.
Maybe that's the terminology for it, if you want to be...
And then you have the guy who is just this guy. I think he's not that religious. And yet there's a lot of fucking religion brought up in this movie. Obviously because their daughter has cancer and bites it. And then, they try to go on with their country music career while coping with this and trying to maintain their relationship. And we have these moments like there are a couple of good scenes, like the daughter's been brought home. She's still dying, but she's been brought home. And there's a moment where a bird flies into the window and breaks its neck and dies. And she goes outside and she starts to pick it up. And the dad is asking her to put it down because it's a dead bird and that's dirty. No, Raymond, don't eat on it. That's dirty. I went Rain Man for a second.
Yep.
And she starts to freak out because she wants to know where the bird goes when it dies. Because she knows that's about to be her, basically. But then it's actually just the setup for this scene later where he's talking about how the reason that happened, he's trying to explain why the bird would die like that. He says it's because birds don't know what glass is. They just see through it and think they can fly through it, and that's how they end up dying. So, long after she's dead, the mom puts those things that stick to windows, and it's a bird, so that the birds know that it's glass and they don't fly into it. And the dad goes into this freak out. I'm not sure what that fight was about. I don't really remember. I watched this a month ago, so I'm trying to review it as I'm reaching for pieces of the movie again. And I won't say exactly what, but because of the fractured timeline, you know something bad is going to happen to another character. But obviously you don't figure out what that is until the end. And this movie is just so cheesy and by the numbers, and I don't understand. Maybe it's the performances people like. They didn't really stand out to me. They're it's nothing different than what all the domestic turmoil movies do. There's really no difference. There's one particular scene that stands out where he's on the stage and they've just performed and somebody talks about God, and then he just goes on this big tirade about how his daughter is dead and how he doesn't believe in God and all that. It just goes... It's like a soap opera, really. And I just don't... The only explanation that my mind could come to was... because it's a foreign movie. If this exact movie... Don't even change the... What's weird is a lot of it's in English, too. When they sing...
I was going to ask, how does country music sound in another language?
When they sing, it's in English.
Of course it is.
Just... Because if this exact... Look, same actors, same everything. Just change the foreign language to English. Nobody would like this movie. Except people who watch soap operas and Lifetime movies and Hallmark movies.
Alright.
There is no difference to this movie and something like My Sister's Keeper or Country Strong or Reservation Road. And nobody liked those movies this much. So, I don't know. That's all I can come to. I don't know. I hope this isn't the first review video that somebody comes across. Like, if they've never seen another one of my videos and they see this one first, they're gonna think I, like, have no idea what the fuck I'm watching all the time.
We just picked a wonderful 3 movies to be talking about today, apparently.
Yeah, I should have shuffled these around with the 3 from last week, but I didn't shuffle them very well. This video just got the shit end of the stick. So, because I don't even know, the only thing I wrote anything down for is the Broken Circle breakdown. I'm just... because normally I have noticed to kind of organize what I'm going to say.
Yeah, of course.
With this next movie, I'm just going to have to use my memory. I watched it a few days ago. The last movie is an indie movie called The Dirties, which... What exactly did Kevin Smith do? Did he, like, see it and then find it? Or, like, get it out there? Or?
That's exactly right. He actually has a new deal. He's basically getting out independent movies and making them, like, helping finance making them more mainstream and getting them out so people can see them.
So, The Dirties is basically... I'm trying to figure out how to say it. I don't know what's spoilery and what isn't. Because it's... I don't know what's a spoiler and what isn't, because this movie is a whole lot of build-up. And then just stops. So, I don't know what's spoilery and what's not to say. Basically, you have 2 kids, and when they're in the first scene, they're in the park and they're starting to make a movie, and these kids are like really, really into movies. Like, just their room kind of looks like mine. And they're talking to this kid, and but the thing is they're Tarantino fanatics, so they're doing the thing where they take all the different parts of movies and make their own, like he does. Because everybody blames Tarantino when kids go insane. He's got the same Pulp Fiction poster I have.
Tarantino or Judas Priest?
So, they're in the park, and they see these 2 kids, these smaller kids who are making a movie themselves. And he's going up and he's telling him the plot of his movie, and he's saying, like, he's stealing lines from The Usual Suspects, and they literally quote direct dialogue from other movies. He brings up, this is when the deeper they reach for references, the more you're like, what the fuck, Jesus. He says, it's about this, we're making a movie about, a group of bullies at our school called the Dirties, and basically how we get revenge on them. And he said, we go and we find the Dirties, and they're in this underground club. You know, he's talking to this really little kid, and he says,
"That's awesome."
We go into this underground club. You know, like the club in Irreversible. I hope to God that kid doesn't know what the club in Irreversible was.
That's great.
So, did you see Irreversible?
Yes.
You remember the club? The very first scene of the movie?
Yes. That's funny. Obscure as I'll get out, but that's funny.
They go in and they do, even though it's really funny, the lineup in The Usual Suspects, when they have to say, give me the keys, you fucking cocksucker, and Stephen Baldwin does the, give me the fucking keys, you fucking cocksucker, and he, like, has his tongue out. They actually do that, and then he goes through the whole thing, and he says, you know, like The Usual Suspects, and then he moves on. When we actually see the movie that they made in class, they're walking through the hallways quoting verbatim Pulp Fiction. You know what they call it, War Over Cheese in Paris. And of course they mix the lines up a little bit, so...
That's great.
Like they mix up the Mector system line, they put that at like the end of the sentence. And I'm probably the only person who realized that the sentences in Pulp Fiction were out of order, but then they have, it's the weirdest fucking poster too, like they have Pulp Fiction and they have, you know, all those, basically the fanboy movies, but then they have like Schindler's List and Wag the Dog. I didn't get to see what it was, they drew like voice bubbles on De Niro and Hoffman on the Wag the Dog poster, but I didn't see what they said. But anyway, But they're the most bullied kids in school. Clearly. They do, the scene in Being John Malkovich, when Malkovich goes inside and everybody is Malkovich. And the only words in the English language are Malkovich, and even the women are. Well, the thing that really embarrasses him the most is he's trying to get one of the girls. He's trying to basically Photoshop the girl into the movie so they have a female character. But they can't, so he basically has to. He reenacts the scene where it's Malkovich in drag singing in a female voice, and he's just saying Malkovich over and over again. He reenacts that himself, and it's in the movie.
Wow.
And everybody is, clearly that did not help the bullying. So finally, and they do this, they had to edit it because they said fuck like every 2 words, like a Tarantino character would. And the teacher was like, you're gonna have to edit it. And he's like, just think of it as I'm the producer. This is something you would have to do with the MPAA, so just...
Get down to his level.
Yeah, there's a lot of jokes about the movie industry itself in the movie, too.
This sounds like an awesome movie so far.
But then finally, after they've screened their censored version, everybody thinks it's hilarious and is not taking it seriously. He says he modeled his crazy walk, after Heath Ledger's Joker. And he's obviously doing a very bad impression.
Oh, God.
So finally, the one kid gets really pissed off and just says, I got it. Nobody wants violence in the movie. And nobody's going to let us have violence in the movie. So let's kill the Dirties for real and film it and make our movie. And this goes on for the rest of the movie because I think they never really go in. That's what's interesting about this. They never really fully establish this. He just says, let's kill the Dirties and film it for real and make our movie. And I guess it's just assumed that the other kid just thinks he's kidding. Because then the whole movie progresses and they're getting closer and closer to making the movie. He's got he goes and he gets blueprints of the school that they just give to him. He's actually talking to the camera. He's like, can you fucking believe they just give me all this shit? I just asked for the blueprints of the school and they gave me fucking everything. And then he has pictures of all the Dirties on his wall, on stuck to the wall, and has a whole map of them and where they're gonna be at a particular time. Mm-hmm. And he has mapped up where he's gonna set up cameras and all that. And he's basically setting it up as if Elephant was about movie fanatics. It's the same basic feel. And then also we have the subplot where the other kid starts to have a girlfriend, which makes, pisses him off even more, because then he starts less caring about the movie and more about his girlfriend, and he really is obsessed with the idea of actually killing the Dirties on camera to make this Tarantino-esque movie. I guess to keep from giving anything away, I'll just stop there.
Sounds a little bit like Bully.
But like I was saying, the thing about the ending is weird because it just kind of, the movie stops in a weird place. You can say the same about Elephant, but that was really funny to me, by the way. They reference every movie under the sun, like when you look at their shelves and you see all their DVDs. Normally, I don't know if anybody notices this, but if you look at DVD shelves within movies, Harold and Kumar's a really good one for this. Mm-hmm. Harold and Kumar's New Line. If you look on Harold and Kumar's DVD shelf, every DVD on that shelf is New Line. In this, I don't know what was... in this, I guess those rules don't apply because it's not a major studio. So, all movies from all different studios are referenced. There was no, boundary. They could reference every possible movie they want to reference. They never referenced Elephant.
Of course not. Because it's literally the elephant in the room.
Okay, if you want to go there.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I guess I'll stop there. So, but yeah, and the kid starts to basically lose his mind because he starts to see, everything as a movie shot. There's a particular scene where he's even on the edge of, a cliff. And it's a big drop. And he's just saying, like, man, what isn't this like an awesome shot? He's not even talking to a camera. He's just saying in general in life, is this not an awesome shot? And the guy's like, okay, it's an awesome shot. Could you, like, step away from there? And it gets more and more like that as the movie progresses and worse. So, it's an effective movie, yeah. Especially from somebody, you know, like... It doesn't put me in much of a perspective as a massive Tarantino fan, because his movies aren't going to drive me to kill people. But he's that director that everybody thinks is so awesome, and they want... But you see, but of course, the difference between me and them is I write scripts that are like his, and they're like living their. This particular character wants to live his life as one, basically. So I'm curious what Tarantino himself thinks of this movie, because I know he and Kevin Smith,
yeah,
like hang out. So.
Definitely.
So
recommendations for this week?
The Dirties, which I'm not sure where you can find it.
I think it's on iTunes, actually, if I remember correctly.
But no, just Escape from Tomorrow. I don't know.
If you're a Disney fan, though, if you want to play, hey, I know where that is. I've been there before.
No. And most people will tell you to see the Broken Circle Breakdown. Do what you want, but I'm telling you, you've seen so many other movies like it. I don't know why people think this one is special. So.
Okay. Next week we return to new release movies. Got a lot of stuff to catch up on. Don't even know exactly what all we're going to have in this video, because there's a lot of things that could be coming out in that time frame. So, any parting words?
That's it.